Live from KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
An attack in cyberspace is affecting how quickly some cars can hit the road.
Yeah, that attack was on a computer system that car dealerships use across the country, and some of them have had to temporarily close.
Katrina Weber shows us how that's affecting a local business.
They are open for business at Ancira Chrysler Jeep Dodge, but it hasn't quite been business as usual lately.
CDK, our dealer management system, was hacked and has been down for 2 days now.
April Ancira says a computer software system by Illinois-based corporation CDK fell victim to ransomware earlier this week. The hackers reportedly demanded millions, and as a precaution, CDK shut down the entire system. It's used by thousands of dealerships across the country, including some locally.
Yeah, it's supposed to come in today.
To sell, service, and keep track of cars and parts.
There was a moment of, okay, so what's at stake? What won't we be able to do?
While the computer outage has put some car dealers out of commission, Ancira says they've been doing their best there to keep moving forward, although it's been a bumpy road.
We're actually able to get some of the information from little bits of different software. So we're doing some of that. We're doing some handwriting.
Instead of using the catch-all computer system, they've been piecing together information. While the attack may have been aimed at a corporation, Ancira says it's actually hurting regular people, customers who are looking for help with everything from buying to repairing their cars.
When something like that happens, you affect the employees' families and their ability to put food on the table.
At this time, she says there's no word on how long it will be before this trouble for car dealers is in their rearview mirrors. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
In other news now, KSAT crews are in Laredo to see a demonstration of how border agencies use drones and infrared technology to find migrants in crisis.
U.S. Border Patrol agents tell us they see a lot of heat-related illnesses and drownings as well. In addition to helicopters, boats, canine, and mounted units they've used for decades, the agency is also using drone technology.
Drone is mid-flight and it's heading towards the last known location of the person who needs assistance. With the drone's capabilities, we will coordinate on the ground with Horse Patrol, with Marine units, with canine units, and all the other assets that Laredo sector has to offer.
Yeah, and they're also using other types of equipment, and you can see how they use that on our website, ksat.com.
Meanwhile, U.S. Customs and Border Protection reports that migrant apprehensions have fallen in the last 2 weeks. Preliminary data shows detentions between ports of entry are down 25% since the beginning of the month.
The agency also reported that Border Patrol arrested nearly 118,000 people who entered the country illegally between ports of entry back in May, and that is actually down 9% from April. In a statement, the CBP acting commissioner says that while their enforcement efforts are continuing to reduce encounters, the immigration system still doesn't have the resources to deal with the challenges. Now tonight, we know the names of the 3 people killed in a shooting and crash earlier this week on the west side. The medical examiner has identified them as Ariel Martinez, Jonathan David Medrano, and Roy Alderete. Both Martinez and Medrano were shot and killed after someone drove up next to them on West Martin Street near Northwest 24th Street, and that caused their vehicle to go into a ditch. The vehicle ended up hitting and killing Alderete, and at last check, SAPD has not released any information on a suspect.
A Bexar County jury found a man guilty today for killing a woman and then burning her remains back in 2021. Andres Tarnava had no reaction when that verdict was read after just an hour of deliberations. During the trial, in a recorded confession, Tarnava said that he was mad at his ex-girlfriend for allegedly stealing some items belonging to his late father. Marisol Klingelhofer's burned remains were found in barrels on Tarnava's property. Tarnava could be sentenced anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison. Tonight, 3 people are dead, nearly a dozen more injured after a shooting at a grocery store in Arkansas. Arkansas State Police responded to reports of gunfire at a grocery store in Fordyce today. 2 of the officers who responded to the scene were shot and reportedly have some non-life-threatening injuries. The shooter was shot by police. He has been taken into custody. State police are reporting the suspect's injuries are non-life-threatening as well.
Now to a big ruling from the Supreme Court today. The justices upheld a long-time ban that prevents people who have domestic violence restraining orders against them from owning a firearm. So that ban was upheld by an 8-1 ruling. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that the law, quote, confirms what common sense suggests. The ruling today, really a sigh of relief for survivors, of domestic abuse.
They listen to survivors. They listen to us. Because it's not a day, a minute, or a second that we don't think about it and we don't feel the pain.
Now, Justice Clarence Thomas was the only one who dissented in this ruling. President Joe Biden applauding the ruling, saying that it allows families to count on critical protections as they have for the past 3 decades.
All right, let's turn to the forecast now. We got the weekend straight ahead. What's going on, Adam?
Well, this evening we have a few little downpours popping up here and there. Nothing like what we had yesterday, just a few quick splash and dash showers. Most of them in Cards County, heading into Wilson County as well. Just clipping Floresville, moving through Poth, crossing over Highway 181, and even a few in Atascosa County. You put the timeline on it, assuming it stays on track and these even hold together, it'd be at Poteet at 6:39 p.m., Selma at 6:50, or I say Thelma, not Selma. Sounds the same. Thelma at 6:50 p.m. This little batch of showers that we're watching. And you look off to the west and we have a few hit or miss widely separated downpours. This is that 20% chance we were talking about. As we go through the evening, these are going to come to an end just in the coming hours, especially after sunset. So by 9:30, most if not all that's gone. 79 degrees at 10 o'clock midnight. We're at 77. A new area of potential development in the Gulf. We'll talk about that and where that moisture is going in a bit.
All right, thanks, Adam. We'll see you then. Let's take a look at a little traffic tie-up out here. 410 at Broadway. This is near the airport, just south of there. You can see, looks like maybe an accident involving 2 vehicles there on the inside lanes. That's got that lane shut down as emergency crews right behind those cars are responding, trying to get things cleared up. Luckily, doesn't look like much of a backup because of it, but certainly something to be aware of. 410 and Broadway.
You know, Myra, you reminded me a moment ago, it's the weekend. And you know that in San Antonio, that also means road closures along I-10 and 1604. RJ Marquez tells you how to get around the northwest side this weekend.
Well, we have made it to the weekend, but unfortunately that means another round of closures for our drivers on the northwest side. If you live, work, and play, or just generally have to drive around the area, you kind of already know the drill, but let's go ahead and break down some of the key bullet points when it comes to this latest closure, which starts late Friday night and runs through Monday 5 a.m. So the biggest things that you need to know: 1604 eastbound La Cantera to Lock Hill, Selma, that will be closed throughout the duration of this construction that's taking place here on the 1604 North Expansion project. 1604 West will have 1 lane closed as you make your way through the interchange, but some good news, I-10 East and West, that will stay open throughout the entire weekend. Again, this starting late Friday nights, going through 5 a.m. on Monday. We have some drone video to show you of some of the work that they're doing out there. Here's a look at a couple of the flyovers that we're seeing over 1604 and I-10. You see that they have put up some steel beams in that area. Last week, they put up 5 steel beams. So again, the work continues out there. And again, TxDOT taking some of this drone video for us and showing us some of the work and the pictures that you see right there. So this is an ongoing process, but again, we are getting there. Let's come back out to maps here real quick. So again, biggest thing that you need to know: 1604 eastbound La Cantera to Lock Hill, Selma. That will be sort of the biggest sort of detour that you will have to sort of manage and navigate around. We have full information on KSAT.com. Have a good weekend and stay safe, everyone.
Today, hundreds of veteran volunteers worked to complete some projects for local nonprofits. They're part of the group The Mission Continues. It's a group focused on connecting military veterans with under-resourced communities. This morning, the volunteers were at Haven for Hope doing some landscaping. One volunteer we spoke with says he is happy to do his part.
That's what we're here to do, to help support them, help this community so they can get back on their feet as quickly as possible and be contributing members of this great community called Military City USA.
The organization will be in Military City, USA for the next 5 days. They'll also be making stops at VFW Post 76, the Democracy Prep at Stewart Campus, and Garcia Street Urban Farm.
PTSD for me had looked like self-isolating and nightmares and panic attacks and just not having a very good quality of living.
Coming up in just a few minutes here at 6 o'clock, June is PTSD Awareness Month. It's something that millions of veterans struggle with every single day. Today at 6:30, see how a service dog is helping one veteran find her passion for life again.
Plus this, after the break, 3 people want to be the next San Antonio mayor, and City Councilman Manny Pelaez is making his case for the job. Up next.
But first, let's take a look outside with live cam. Some potential tropical development in the Gulf. Meteorologist Adam Caskey will tell us if that's going to affect us here in San Antonio. Coming up next.
A couple of weeks ago, a house fire on the east side took the life of Tommy Anderson. But coming up tonight in the Night Beat, we're showing you how his family is determined to keep his legacy strong here in San Antonio and how the community is stepping up to help.
A church in a West Side neighborhood was deemed a habitual noise violator by a municipal court judge. We told you about that back in May. Now, their speakers have been taken by the city. Tonight on the Night Beat, how those who live in the area are reacting.
The San Antonio mayoral election still 11 months away, but already 3 men have officially announced their plans. A few weeks ago, we sat down with candidate Beto Altamirano.
Now today we have District 8 Councilman Manny Pelaez. He sat down with City Hall reporter Garrett Berger to talk about his aspirations for a different seat.
After the maximum 4 terms as councilman,
Councilmember Pelaez.
Manny Pelaez says he's ready for a different seat at the dais.
I am in love with this city. I have because of that sense of gratitude, I feel like I am compelled to find ways to give back.
Pelaez is known for his pro-business and pro-police stances, for being an outspoken advocate for domestic violence issues.
So I offer 2 things, right? That passion, the vision, but a lifetime of a successful track record.
He's also known for being more free-speaking than some of his colleagues, and has found himself at the center of controversy. Most recently, his reversal on Gaza's ceasefire resolution meant the issue never got brought before the full council, earning the ire of Palestine supporters.
Manny, you can't hide! Manny, you can't hide! I charge you with genocide!
Pelaez, though, says he realized it would be contentious and found no other support for it among his colleagues.
That at the end of the day, we'd get all the way up to a hearing at City Council and we'd lose, and that would cause a lot of pain. I'm not here to cause pain. I'm here to solve problems.
The vision Pelaez says he's selling to voters is a safer, stronger, and smarter city. The biggest issue he thinks the city faces is a lack of optimism, pointing to San Antonio's decision to not vie for Amazon's second headquarters back in 2017. Though at the time, he told KSAT he was, quote, in 100% agreement.
I think that the next mayor of San Antonio needs to be out there ready to answer the question, why San Antonio and who are you? Why? Because we're awesome. Who are we? We're awesome, right? And we are the most authentic, most special place in the world, right?
Pelaez also thinks the city needs a new plan, similar to the SA 2020 concept.
There's some new realities that we need to address, and we need to incorporate all the existing plans. We need to update them and into a master plan for this city.
For more on Pelaez's ideas, you can see the full interview on KSAT.com. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
All right, let's turn to the forecast now. It's honestly not that bad temperature-wise, but we got some humidity to deal with as well, Adam.
Yeah, we do. The high humidity, and that's going to make it feel like it's about 10 degrees warmer than the actual air temperature into the weekend. I want to start with the radar, authority radar, and check out this one downpour that we have that just popped up right over San Antonio. I'll widen it out for you and then go back in. You see, this is basically between 281 and I-10. Between McCullough and Blanco, Bassey Road down toward Dora and Fresno. That's one downpour that we have going for us. Elsewhere, there's still some of that activity that's farther to the south of San Antonio and just a few isolated downpours in parts of the hill country. But this action, the clock is ticking because there's not much time left for these showers and thunderstorms, or not even thunderstorms really, just showers out there. Not much time left for them as we lose daytime heating from the sun sets. We're going to lose these little showers like this little downpour. You could get a few hundredths of an inch from that. That's about it. Here's the area of potential development we're watching in the Gulf of Mexico, similar location as to where Tropical Storm Alberto recently formed and then made landfall on the east coast of Mexico. Hurricane Center has us at a 60% chance of developing into a tropical system over the next 5 to 7 days. Even if it does develop into something, it looks like the moisture is going to be kept to the south of us. And there's a little bit of a upper level counterclockwise swirl there, some upper level support and some moisture moving in, a bit of a ripple in the upper level flow with it. However, the Big Blue H, the upper level high, it's right over Tennessee at the moment. And this is going to block that tropical moisture and that energy from making it our way. That upper level high slides or passes overhead over the weekend and then sets itself up over the four corners, basically desert southwest. And that's going to essentially block any of that tropical activity from moving in. The door is open for disturbances, but the door is open from the north. See the steering flow here? We could get the leftovers of some thunderstorms from Oklahoma and parts of North Texas. I think that's our best bet, and a few isolated pop-ups here and there. We're talking a 10 to 20% chance Sunday all the way through next week. So very minimal when it comes to additional rain chances on top of the almost 1.5 inches we picked up officially at the airport. Now look at the high temperatures today. 91 San Antonio, 97 in Nashville, 93 in Chicago. That's warm for them. 97 New York City, even DC at 95. Temperatures about 10 to 15 degrees above average because of the upper level heat high. That's why I put technically the isohypses on the map, these white lines, lines of equal geopotential height in the atmosphere. I know Myra's loving this right now. Yep, nerd alert. Anyway, the isohypses are on here, and that shows the upper level high that's pressing down on that location. And it's going to be passing overhead, but our temperatures aren't going to be extreme as it moves past us. 74 in the morning tomorrow, 87 at noon, 93 the high temperature. But when you factor in the humidity, it's going to feel like it's 10 degrees warmer. 90 in Tarpley tomorrow, Canyon Lake, 91, Seguin, 93. I just love this photo. I had to share this. This is a great photo. Blessed. You see the big tropical raindrops, and he's out enjoying it. Not just in the rain, but you see the blue sky off in the background. That really sums up what we had yesterday. It was good to have those tropical downpours. And coming up at 6:45, I'm going to get more into how much rain fell and where, area reservoir levels, and how much rain is going to go into or will be considered for the next drought monitor in areas that need it. At 6:45.
We always appreciate when you nerd out, Adam.
Isohypses, the word of the day, isohypses.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
So I want us from now for the next few hours to send really good vibes to Eugene, Oregon, because that is where a young woman from Boerne is hoping to fulfill her Olympic dreams.
Yeah, so she races at 8:22 tonight, so just about 2 hours away for Elizabeth Leachman, who will take on the 5,000 meters as she looks to make the 2024 Summer Games. And the New Braunfels Unicorns, the football team, they are not slowing down. Coming up. After winning 2 gold medals in early May at the UIL Track and Field State Meet in Austin, Elizabeth Leachman has her sights set on making the upcoming Summer Games in Paris. Tonight, Leachman will run in the women's 5,000 meters at the 2024 U.S. Track and Field Trials at Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. She's one of 10 high schoolers who qualified for the Track and Field Trials, but she's the only one in the 5,000 meters race, and she will be going up against mostly professional field. The 16-year-old owns the high school 5K national record with a time of 15.27 seconds. The minimum time to make Eugene, 15:45. Now the first round is tonight at 8:22 local time, and the 5,000 meters final is Monday should she advance. We're wishing her the best. The Unicorns of New Braunfels are competing during morning conditioning practices. Brad Mulder came over from Lavernia to take over as the new head coach of the Unicorns, and Coach Mulder can't wait for late August and the start of the regular season. He shared what he's most looking forward to as we get closer to kickoff.
I just want to find out some things about these guys, that they come in and they work their tails off in the weight room. They work their tails off on the football field. Their attitudes are great. I want to get into pads and find out who's who. I mean, our biggest job right now is to get the right people on the bus and get them in the right seat. There's a lot of potential, and I want to find out. I want to close that gap between potential and we can.
Every program has different goals for what they want to accomplish in summer workouts, and for Coach Mulder, he has specific aspirations in mind.
Our goal is to play into December, and that can, with 2 scrimmages, I mean, you're looking at 17, 18 weeks. So we want to get to that point, and you got to be healthy to do that. The coaches that we have on staff here, including myself, have been there, and we know that. So I think preparing this summer, number 1, functional movement to translate to the football field, and then number 2, injury prevention in the strength and conditioning part of it is the 2 things that we're looking to get out of it.
The Unicorns will gallop into a new regular season when they hit the road to take on Madison on August 30th. One local semi-pro football team in the Big Southern Football League that also serves as a funnel to bigger leagues like the UFL and the IFL is headed to the big stage to try to bring home a national championship. Mary Rominger has more on the motivation behind the Warriors' success.
The loss of Coach White has been hard on everybody, especially the ones that's been here for a while. But, we're doing it for him this season.
In 2004, Glenn White began building what has now become the winningest semi-professional football team in Texas history, the San Antonio Warriors of the BSFL. When White lost his fight to liver cancer during this year's preseason, he left behind a profound legacy and a team ready to win now.
We really are like his final roster. He handpicked everyone that's here right now.
Coach White was a Green Beret, and so a lot of the values and things that were instilled in us and that we try to hold true to are all military discipline, loyalty, leadership, duty, respect.
Coach White's winning recipe landed the Warriors a spot in the BSFL Minor Professional Football League Championship, where they'll face the 2-time defending champion Texas Red Raiders out of Houston.
We're going to bring that trophy home, and then they're going to know San Antonio's serious on every level.
It wouldn't be the Warriors' first state title, but it'd be their first in their effort to memorialize their late head coach. Mary Rominger, KSAT 12 Sports.
Thank you, Mary, and do it for Coach White. I love it.
I love that. Thank you.
Yep.
Still to come here at 6 o'clock. June is PTSD Awareness Month, and there are many ways to help treat this disease, including getting a service dog. After the break, a local veteran tells us how her service dog gave her a new outlook on life.
So we know that PTSD can be difficult to deal with, especially for millions of veterans across the country.
But for a lot of people dealing with the disorder, having a furry companion by their side can help. We're meeting a local veteran and the adorable pup who saved her life.
An Air Force veteran of 12 years, Sarah knew she wanted to be in the military at a young age. Joining the Armed Forces in 2009, Sarah started as a dental assistant and then went on to aircraft maintenance. Then her life took a turn when she started experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms.
PTSD for me had looked like self-isolating and nightmares and panic attacks and just not having a very good quality of living.
Dr. Alan Peterson, professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at UT Health San Antonio, says PTSD can show up in many different ways.
There's about 20 different symptoms that exist. They do fall into some main clusters or types of symptoms. One would be avoidance. There's hyperarousal symptoms, so people will feel worked up, physically. And then they also have what's called re-experiencing symptoms. So they'll have, sometimes they can have flashbacks or nightmares.
After feeling like she had tried everything, Sarah reached out to a friend who told her about Canines for Warriors, a nonprofit that pairs veterans suffering from PTSD with service animals. And that's when she met Delta, a 2-year-old golden doodle.
Delta changed my life, and he did it in such a short amount of time. When I have panic attacks, Delta will come and sit on my feet or put his chin on my leg or alert me in some way, shape, or form. Usually those are the 2 primaries when my heart rate's getting elevated. Sit.
With Delta by her side, Sarah is able to enjoy life again.
One of the things that I had wanted to do since I moved here was go to a San Antonio Spurs game. And I was like, I can't do it alone. I can't do it. Since I've had Delta, I've been to 2 games, and it was so much fun.
Over the past 15 years, over 6,000 people have been treated for PTSD at UT Health San Antonio. Dr. Peterson wants veterans to know there is help.
The goal is not just to label somebody with a disorder, but to make sure they can be provided good care. So there is hope, but don't give up if the very first treatment you try does not work for you.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Now, if you're looking for more information on Canines for Warriors, or if you need help with PTSD, head to our website, ksat.com. We've got plenty of resources there.
Around America now, new data shows that existing homes for sale in America are the most expensive they have ever been. According to the National Association of Realtors, the price increased in May for the 11th consecutive month. The median price of a previously owned home in the U.S. last month now more than $419,000. That's the highest price on record, and it's up almost 6% from last year. According to Zillow, households would need to save more than $127,000 to make a down payment on a typical home and afford the mortgage payment.
And who can save $127,000? All right. Now be ready to deal with a lot of security if you're visiting D.C. this summer. Law enforcement officials are bracing for potential unrest as a result of several high-profile events that could spark protests. Bike fencing has gone up around the Supreme Court in anticipation of several blockbuster decisions, including one on former President Trump's immunity claim. Those decisions are going to be handed down before the high court goes on summer break, which usually happens around the end of the month.
Tonight, the FAA is investigating why a Southwest Airlines plane came dangerously close to the ground when approaching its destination at an airport this week.
As Laura Aguirre reports, what may be more unsettling is that this is the second such incident that the agency is looking into since just April.
This is Southwest Airlines Flight 4069 over Yukon, Oklahoma Wednesday, about 9 miles from the airport in Oklahoma City. Just after midnight local time, air traffic control warned the pilots of a low altitude alert, asking the crew, "You good out there?" According to liveatc.net. Tracking data from Flight Radar 24 reveals that the jet, which took off from Las Vegas, came within 525 feet of the ground before climbing briefly and then safely landing. The FAA confirmed in a statement Thursday that it's investigating the incident. Southwest Airlines says it's working with the agency to understand and address any irregularities with the aircraft's approach to the airport. It's the second frightening descent by a Southwest jet since April, when a flight landing in Hawaii went as low as 400 feet above the ocean before climbing after an aborted landing attempt. The jets involved in both cases are Boeing 737 models, and while the cause of these two descents has not been determined, they come as Boeing is mired in previous safety and quality control mishaps. The company's CEO faced harsh bipartisan criticism on Capitol Hill Tuesday.
This hearing is a moment of reckoning.
You don't recognize the Boeing that has airplanes falling out of the sky?
Our culture is far from perfect, but we are taking action and we are making progress.
Southwest tried to assure the flying public after Wednesday's incident, saying nothing is more important than the safety of their customers and employees. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
We want you to stick around because coming up, it's not just us here. It's not just San Antonio dealing with this hot weather. Hundreds of millions of Americans are on alert for dangerous heat. How people from Arizona all the way up to New York are handling it. Up next. All right, we got to talk about it. The extreme and excessive heat lingering over much of the country. We know parts of the Northeast are approaching near record highs.
That heat wave is triggering a number of warnings and causing some travel delays as well. ABC's Morgan Norwood has more from New York.
The sweltering and dangerous heat tightening its grip on regions across the country, with more than 100 million under heat alerts.
Never been this hot in my entire life.
Schools closing early in Boston, beaches and pools opening ahead of schedule, and officials warning people to stay hydrated.
Nobody's immune to
excessive heat.
In Washington, D.C., where the heat index topped 97 degrees, tourists seen using umbrellas to shield themselves from the blistering sun, some wiping away sweat, and others taking refuge in the shade. Philadelphia declaring a heat emergency, opening dozens of cooling centers, but city workers still pushing through the heat.
That sun is beaming.
In Tucson, these shipping containers repurposed as cooling shelters.
There is no relief when you're out on the streets like that. There is none.
And in Buffalo, students taking final exams frustrated after they say their classrooms didn't have air conditioning. The district now says it's inspecting their facilities.
When you're trying to sit there and think and process, and then you got the heat, it just drains you.
The extreme temperatures disrupting train services from New York to D.C. Amtrak suspending service for hours due to a malfunctioning circuit breaker. And when service finally resumed, trains operating under 35 miles per hour due to the extreme heat expanding tracks, and a brush fire in New Jersey impacting trains there.
The train turned off and we were stuck on the tracks for I think maybe an hour or two with no air conditioning.
And doctors recommend taking these excessive heat warnings seriously, as there are hundreds of heat-related deaths every single year. That's according to the CDC. Now, experts recommend that you wear sunscreen, limit your time outdoors, and of course, stay hydrated. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
All right, time now 6:41, and we're getting a live look outside. Look at the beautiful blue sky there in the distance. That makes me so happy. Just doesn't make me so happy when you step out in it. But you know what? Not that bad considering what we were dealing with just a few weeks ago, Adam.
Oh, yeah. When we had triple digits?
Yeah.
Bye-bye. See you later, triple digits. We've had 7 100-degree days so far this year, and we're not going to add to that within the next 7 days. Probably just mid-90s for highs. I doubt we'll get much warmer than that. A little bit of an outflow boundary headed in from these decaying showers that were over Floresville. The green line's a bit of an outflow boundary that's moving in. Could even be associated with the sea breeze that typically comes in close to this time from the Gulf of Mexico. But anyway, that's going to kick up the wind just a little bit, but not cause any issues. And then we have a few downpours right along I-35. Divine, especially down into Moore, from Bigfoot to Moore, that moved. It's very isolated, and this activity is coming to an end with sunset. We'll talk more about the reservoir levels, how much rain we got the past few days, and a look at that potential development in the Gulf and where it goes in just a bit.
We were talking about those temperatures.
We're preaching over here.
No triple digits. I mean,
that's a win.
Yeah. Sign me up.
You're signed. You're already in. Hold on. Where'd our list go? You're in. You're both in, and we all are. I want to take a look at our area reservoir lake levels, and really, we didn't see a big change from the recent rainfall. Canyon at 57%. That's 23.5 feet below the conservation pool. It had a minor uptick of a few hundredths of a foot so far. That's it. Medina, of course, still very low. Choke at 22%. That's almost 30 feet below the conservation pool. All right, so obviously we need some more rain, and you look at Texas as a whole, and this is we are in one of the most drought-stricken parts of Texas, particularly up into the hill country and westward toward the Rio Grande, including Del Rio and Comstock. The severe and extreme drought. We're going to isolate just that area. We're going to outline it here in white, and then overlay Doppler radar estimated rainfall. And keep in mind the dark green is an inch of rain, at least an inch, and the yellow is at least 2 inches of rain. And so you look at this, and we had some good rainfall, but not drought busting rain. Drought denting rain, I think it's fair to say, but it's not going to wipe away the drought. It's just going to have a bit of an impact on it. When you look at the rainfall totals on the order of over the past 3 days, we're talking 2.4 inches in Uvalde, near Medina Lake 1.55, 2.2 up near Comfort, and just near the city of Medina, 1.78. But obviously the highest amounts were down to the south, farther south, Dimmitt, LaSalle, McMullen counties, and closer to the Gulf Coast, where they had 6 to 7 inches of rain. So we needed that heavier rain westward. It was just luck of the draw with that tropical moisture and tropical system. Most of it was south, closer to the main tropical storm, and we were right on the edge of it. Going forward, we're looking at 10 to 20% chance. That's it. Unfortunately, I wish I had better news for you. Despite watching this area of potential development right on the heels of Tropical Storm Alberto, this is near where Alberto formed. And the Hurricane Center has it at a 60% chance of development over the next 5 to 7 days. Even if something does come together or there's just a cluster of moisture, storms, and rain, it's likely to be kept south of us. Now, I will say tomorrow, I think we'll get some clouds thrown our way from that. That's about it. And a few showers from Laredo to Corpus Christi, down to Brownsville and down in the valley. But the main moisture and anything that develops is likely to be blocked out of our area because the big blue H, it's back and it's going to be passing overhead as we get into the weekend. That's going to block any of that tropical moisture and rain from making it here. And then it's going to set up over the desert southwest as we get into next week. And the door's open for some disturbances. We have this northerly flow aloft. The thing is, we're going to need those disturbances to come in from the north. Tropical conditions don't come in from the north. We all know that. And so we'd have to rely on some leftovers of thunderstorms that organize in North Texas or even Oklahoma. So that's why we're unlikely to see any of that potential development in the Gulf of Mexico. Tomorrow morning, 74 degrees at 7 a.m. Muggy, very sticky. By noon, we're at 87, then 93 the high, but it's going to feel like it's 10 degrees warmer than the air temperature for a few hours in the afternoon. You factor in that mugginess. Tomorrow, Del Rio 93, Kerrville 89, Cotulla 92. Not bad. This is about average for this time of year. Actually, the average high in San Antonio is 93 degrees, and that's where we're going to be. Myra's on the list. Stephanie is on the list. We're all signed up for lack of triple digits, and that's what we're talking about. You look at those rain chances, as I mentioned, only 10 to 20% this weekend and going through next week. Highs in the mid-90s, and this is some good news. St. Hedwig, look at that, over an inch in the rain gauge there. South end of Canyon Lake, 1.6 inches. We like to see that. And I just love this photo, so I had to share it with you again.
He looks so happy.
He does. All right.
Because we all were.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
The Buzz is coming up next. In the Buzz today, a story with a happy ending. Diesel the donkey is alive, safe and sound. He ran away during a hike outside of his Sacramento home 5 years ago. After searching for weeks, his family just kind of gave up. They assumed the worst.
Yeah, but earlier this year, a hunter spotted him amongst a herd of at least a dozen elk in the northern California wilderness. And then his owners saw the footage and they confirmed it's Diesel. But they say they're not going to try and bring him back because he seems to be living his best life, happy and healthy. All right.
Okay.
So, it's no secret. We've been talking about this for how long? Come on. It's been a hot week in many parts of the U.S. with record-breaking temperatures across parts of the country. People are looking to really cool down any way that they can. So enter the Mattydale Fire Department in central New York State.
Yeah, with local temperatures there reaching 95 degrees this week, they created the ultimate splash pad behind a local middle school. Kids were invited to beat the heat and play in the fire hoses, spraying them with the trucks and the ladders. The fire department said it was so popular, they're going to try to make this an annual event.
Oh, love that.
I think that's pretty cool. Okay, what's the deal with these monoliths? A mysterious monolith has been moved in Sin City. A 77-inch tall column made out of reflective sheet metal was discovered over the weekend in Las Vegas. Police say they moved the monolith, which was secured with rebar and concrete. They took it to an undisclosed location.
Okay. Well, so far there's no official investigation into that object, but the authorities are going to determine whether to store or dispose of it. The mystery about who made it and why it was placed in that location got a lot of attention across the country.
Wasn't there another one in Utah recently? Okay, Caskey's
fascinating.
Confirming.
We'll be right back.
That is all our time. Thanks for watching the news at 6 o'clock.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll see you right back here on The Night Beat. Have a nice dinner.